Hey everybody, it's Chris Mahan. Welcome to another Lead Team podcast. This podcast tonight is to announce a new summer series that I'm going to be kicking off here in June. I know it's only the middle of May, but I want to get you start thinking about this because there's some things that I want you to think about as we go through this next summer. And the other podcast that I'm doing is called After the Cap and Gown. It is for high school graduates and college graduates and what their life looks like after school. I have already several amazing guests coming on to help with things like workforce and fitness, all kinds of stuff to assist with that podcast. This one is all for you, the parent. Parenting leadership is something that I've been talking about for 13 years. And I've written a book on it right here. You can see the book. It's on Amazon. And in this book, I talk about all the things that I have experienced working with young people since 2013. Worked over 1,000 of them. I've taught over 7,000 hours of my workshops. And as I observe what's happening in the world today with our young people, 12, 13, 14, 16, 18, 20, they're really going down a dark road. Many of them, whether it's emotional problems, behavioral problems, crime, just lack of wanting to move forward. And I believe that all of this starts and ends in the home. As parents, we don't want the worst for our kids. We want them to all be successful. I think we all agree on that. But as a society, we have failed our young people in multiple ways. We failed them in the schools. Now, I'm not blaming schools, I'm not blaming teachers. I'm saying that when a young person who is not prepared to be in school or is not socially ready to be in school cannot handle that environment, he or she does some really bad things, whether it's school shooting, whether it's bullying, fighting, or they just become so reclusive that they don't ever advance. They just kind of sit back in a classroom and don't say anything. They don't really do much. They just kind of get through the day. And this is not helping our next generation at all. So, this podcast series that I have coming up for parents on leadership is to help you, not to judge you, but to help you find how best for you to be a leader to your teen. Now, you might be thinking, oh, my kid is out of control, or my kid's already, too much to handle. And again, those problems started years ago. They didn't just happen. There's a reason everything happened. Maybe there was a divorce in the family. Maybe you made a big move. Maybe there's just something else happening where that young person doesn't really feel connected anymore or heard anymore. Maybe they never did in the first place. Maybe there never really was a strong uh, sense of leadership in the home. I can go on and on with examples if you'd like. One of those happened in Virginia about 2 years ago when a 6 year old took a gun to an elementary school, shot his teacher in the classroom, and he was 6 years old. When that story broke, I knew before the facts were even out. I said, well, this is probably what happened. Probably a single parent home, probably zero, you know, leadership in the home, lots of dysfunction, how does a 6 year old get a gun, take it to school, and aim it at a teacher and nearly kill her? When the facts came out, sure enough, single mom, young, 26, had been floundering for years, would not listen to her father. Her grandfather tried to help her. She wouldn't listen. And he was very, very upset because now his grandson is going to be under the watch of every social counselor and DCF out there. The daughter went to jail. Bad situation. Could have been prevented. Then in my book, I talk about the first school shooting in Michigan where the parents, Oxford, Michigan, where the parents were arrested. They're doing over 10 years in prison because they gave their son, who they knew had mental issues, a gun. Took it to school, killed, I think, 4 people. And I said, this will be precedent right here. When this happens again, the next parent that has a school shooter son is going to jail. It happened in Georgia. Uh, Colton Gray, uh, you know, shot people up. Dad gave him the gun. The year before, the sheriff's department came to the home to investigate a report from a threat on Discord, an app called Discord. The dad said, "Oh no, he knows better than that. He does. He's not going to do something like that. Nope, 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 nope." Dad goes out and buys him a gun, knowing his son had mental issues, emotional issues, had already been, confronted by the local sheriff's office a year before about gun violence and threats in schools, and still goes out and buys him a gun. His son kills people. Now he's in jail. Both of them, the dad and the son. Most recently, there was a mom in Orange County, California, with a 14-year-old who was on an electric bike. These are very popular now. And he was doing wheelies and goofing around. Didn't have a license to drive it. Hit an 81-year-old veteran, killed him. So now the mom is looking at prison time. So the reason we want to have strong leadership in the home isn't just because it's good for the mind of the young person to be developed properly and be a good member of society. You now, as parents, are going to be on the hook. Once that case law is gone into effect, I'm not a lawyer, but I'm kind of thinking here. Once there's one case and it worked, there's going to be more. It happened with the school shooting. Now it happened with the electric bike. These electric bikes are everywhere. I live here in Florida, and there's kids whipping up and down the roads and these things just flying. They're everywhere. They're not paying attention to road rules. They're not paying attention to pedestrians or their cars. They're just flying on these things. So I predict there's going to be some changes when it comes to who can drive these electric bikes and who's responsible, something should happen, that type of thing. Just my guess. The other thing about leadership in the home is we want our kids to be liked wherever they go. That means when they go to a job interview, they know how to handle themselves. If they get a job, they know how to handle themselves if they're confronted with conflict. If they are told by their boss to do something they don't want to do, are they going to talk back, be lazy? What are they going to do? All of this comes down to mom and dad. Another big thing that we're seeing, I meant to mention a second ago, is these teen takeovers, right? We see them, we hear about them. These teen takeovers have been real popular in Chicago. There was just one here last Friday night in Tampa. And these kids started out just a group of kids. Turns out many of them were arrested. 22 were arrested. 12 years old, 13 years old, 14 years old, arrested. The police were like, where are the parents? What's going on? This has become kind of a fashionable trend in different cities where these kids go out and they just show up in mob form and take over. They vandalized. There was 2 guns taken out of kids' possession here in Tampa the other night. Yeah, and these are like 12, 13, 14, 15-year-olds. These are not 20-somethings. These are 7th, 8th, 9th graders. Okay. When they get a record at 14, 15 years old, it's a gun charge, it's a violent crime charge, assault charge. If it's a felony, here in Florida, it's really hard to expunge that. And I know this because I've worked with many kids in my career that when they were 14, 15, 13, they hit the SRO. They got in a fight at school and they threw their arm back and they hit the police officer. Now that's an attack on law enforcement. It's felony. So now they're 19, 20 years old trying to get a job in medical or some other field where background checks are really, really tight because they have that felony from, 6, 7, 8 years earlier while they were in junior high. They can't get that job. So an act of emotional, dysfunction in school is costing them now years later with a simple job. So when I talk about parenting leadership in the home, it isn't to judge you, it's to help you understand that we as parents have to step it up. We cannot simply rely on school teachers or the police because everyone's so afraid of police now. Oh, the police are doing their job. They're doing the job that parents should be doing. Parents are letting this whole thing get out of control. And then here's what really cracks me up. And you see this all over the internet. A kid will get in trouble, do something really stupid, a crime, kill somebody, what have you. I mean, there's another murder trial going on right here with teenagers. Four teenagers killed a kid, I think it was a year ago, blasted him. I saw the video today. I don't know where they got the gun, but they just shot him all up in his car. They're like teenagers, not 20 something, teenagers. All of them now going to prison for murder. Why? Because they didn't really have the structure at home to understand that that's not what you want to do. I'll get into fatherless homes in a couple more episodes, talk about stats and the things that affect kids when there's no father in the home. Now, some of you might be saying, but wait a minute, I had a dad in my house and he was terrible. He was an alcoholic. He was bad. Okay. Yes, there's exceptions to every rule. There's exceptions to the rule of single moms, how great the kids turn out. There's exceptions to the rule for everything. As a general understanding, we have to have dads in the home. We have to. This has been known for many, many years. When it comes to your kids' emotional well being, as parents, we have to teach them how to be emotionally strong. I'm not saying back in my day it was, oh, you're hurt, go suck it up, just deal with it. It was very push off when I grew up. We know that's not the best thing to do. And I'm not suggesting that in any way, shape, or form. At the same time, I would like to see parents help build some resiliency and some grit in their kids today. There isn't any. When things get hard, things get tough, kids quit. And because schools don't want upset parents, they allow it. Parents don't want to upset their kids because their kids are already having issues. They don't want to make them feel bad. They allow it. So enabling is a huge problem for parents today. Absolutely terrible. We're going to cover all these things. A lot of this stuff is in my book. I cover a lot of these issues um, in here, and I give solutions. Here's something right here talking about crime. I don't know if you can see it. Sexual assault can occur in every type of home. Every type of home. I talk about so many things in this book to help you. It's like a guide, okay? This is over a 10-year period I wrote this book, over 10 years, working with over 1,000 kids from every ethnicity, every background, every income level. I'm telling you, everything is in here. I want you to be successful as a parent. Because if you are successful as a parent, your kids will be successful growing up. They'll be successful in society. They'll be successful in the workplace. They will be contributing to the home, to everywhere they go. Instead of seeing them go to prison at 15 or die of an overdose at 16 or commit suicide at 16, which I've had 22 post-suicide family talks, worst talk you will ever have. When you hear a parent talking about their 15, 12, 13, 18-year-old and past tense, and then I'd always ask, well, what was really happening? Well, we had this going on. We didn't want to address it. He talked about this. We didn't think it was serious. If you suspect that your child is having emotional issues, there's so many places to get free help. If you have questions about that, email me at leadyourteen, LEADYOURTEEN @gmail.com. I will be happy to do the research for you in your city, your town, your state, wherever you are, and pass that along to you. I don't care. It's a 5-second Google search. It's maybe a chat GTP search, something to find information. It's so simple. But if you need help with that, I will help you with that for free. Just let me know. If you're having trouble with your son or daughter in any capacity, email me with that concern. I will research maybe some alternatives, some ways to get around it, address that in a podcast. I don't mention your name. Don't just say anything to embarrass you, nothing like that. But I can say a parent in here or a dad in here, mom here has this going on. Here's what we're going to do. That's for you. We have to all work together. We have to all help each other. If we don't, this next generation, maybe one generation beyond, we're going to be just done. Kids today are doing things that are just out of control. Out of control. As more and more research comes out, and I've been saying this since 2013, the use of this device right here, this phone, this thing right here, in schools, in the bedroom, wherever it is. If you look on the cover of the book, this kid's sitting in a dark room, and all these things are coming at him out of that computer. I wanted that image for that very reason. So you can see there's just the world is right there at their fingertips. Many things, many, many dark things you don't want them to see. We have to understand the world that our kids live in now. We have to understand as parents that we have to be that shield, that wall, that protection for them before they fall prey to someone, before they do something like sextortion. Do you know what sextortion is? Did you know that it doesn't just affect girls? Did you know that kids commit suicide nearly every month because of sextortion? Human trafficking. Here's another good one. Where I live, one of the top areas in the country for human trafficking. How do we get around it? What do we look for? There's so much going on in the world today. And again, I'm not judging. I wish I had this information when I was just becoming a dad 24 years ago. I was a nervous wreck because everything was so new and crazy. Didn't have the internet like we do today. Yes, we had it, but not like today. We didn't have the apps. We didn't have Facebook. We didn't have TikTok. We didn't have WhatsApp. We didn't have roadblocks. We didn't have all these apps that kids get on. And they know how to find them. They know how to get around it. They know how to, sneak and do all these things. That's something else. If your son or daughter has a mobile device, you need to be on it. You need to be in it. That is not private property. It is not. One, you probably bought it. Two, if they're a minor in your home, you have every right to look at it. There's a section in here. For many, many years, I worked in film. There's a section in here where I worked with the late Carol O'Connor and his son Hugh on TV show In the Heat of the Night. Wonderful people, amazing people. But if you remember back in the day, if you're younger, you probably don't. If you're maybe like my age parent, early 2000s, late 90s, Hugh O'Connor, Carol's son, after the show ended in June of 1994, took his life in March of 1995. He was 32 years old. Yes, Hugh O'Connor was a drug addict. Hugh and his father were a great relationship, father-son. And Carol and Nancy, his wife, did everything they could do to help their son. Took him out of L.A., put him on the show to get him out of L.A. He married a lady in Georgia. They had a kid. Great life. He goes back to L.A. when the show ends, and within just a few months, he's obviously back on the drugs, and he killed himself in 1995. Carol went on TV going after the drug dealer. He did a PSA, and he was telling parents, you have to get in your kid's face. You have to know what they're doing. There's a link in here to his last interview talking about how he allowed things to happen. Oh, he's just a teenager. He's just a boy. And then all of a sudden things escalated where it wasn't just pot anymore. Now it's cocaine. Now it's this. And it was out of control. 32 years old. Shot himself. Carol was devastated. It was the first time I knew someone personally who took their life. Carol O'Connor and Nancy O'Connor were wonderful, wonderful people. He was a great boss. He was very generous, very kind. Hugh was very nice, always smiling, always kind. Horrible tragedy. Horrible. People say, well, you know, that kid's poor. So this happened. This kid's this. There is no socioeconomic barrier to protect you from all these evil things. The only thing you have to protect you is your knowledge and your ability to say, I'm not allowing this in my home. I'm not allowing you to do this right now because you are not ready to handle the responsibility of a e-bike or a cell phone or going out with this group until 10 o'clock at night. No. Yes, your kid's going to have pushback. Oh, you're the worst mom, worst dad. You guys hate me. I hate you. Yeah, okay, cool. Fine. This is where leadership has to come in. Please, if you have any questions, comments, concerns about what's going on, how you can do something better, a topic you'd like to know more about, reach out to me for this podcast. This podcast series is for you. It's for you and your family. So reach out to me at leadyourteen@gmail.com. I will get back to you. If you're watching on Spotify, leave a note. If you're watching on YouTube, leave a note. If you're watching on LinkedIn, leave a note. Facebook, leave a note. It's going to be everywhere. If you're watching through Opus Clips on TikTok and everything else, you can leave a note. Leave a note. Reach out to me. I want to hear from you. Okay. This isn't always a hard topic. Parental leadership is actually awesome because once you build that relationship on that level with your son or daughter, regardless of their age, okay, they could be 25, 26, 27. How many 30-year-olds are still living at home today? A lot, okay? A lot. And not just because of the economy. That's a whole nother topic. Older kids living at home. I've already done one short clip on that. It's got almost 8,000 views, which isn't a lot for a lot of, I mean, it's a lot. It's like a 30-second clip on TikTok, and it's got over 8,000 views and comments just on a real short clip. So I definitely struck a nerve. But I want you guys to understand. I want to help you. I love doing this. I love helping people. I love helping families be successful. So reach out. Hopefully you will share this podcast, tell people about it. We will start a regular podcast on this subject of parental leadership near the mid to end of May. The other one, if you've got a son or daughter that's graduating high school or college coming up, the other podcast series is called After the Cap and Gown. That is a what's next kind of thing from workforce to military, trade school. What do we do? Setting goals. I've got people coming in for that podcast that are absolutely amazing, from workforce to current HR people, military recruiters, people that can give you real answers about how to help your son or daughter get into the next phase out of high school. When it comes to college graduates or that age group, they could be 21, 22, not gone to college yet, because we also talk about the leap year kids, or the, not leap year, I'm sorry, the gap year, where they're kind of, checking things out. What do I do? We have to give them some direction. So in that podcast, After the Cap and Gown, that one starts in June. We'll be talking about that. So hopefully you'll follow me on all these podcasts and share them, subscribe, let your friends and family know, coworkers know, because together we can make a lot of big changes. This couple steps, and we're off and running. All right, you guys have a great night. My name is Chris Mahan. This has been another Lead Your Teen podcast. You can follow us on Spotify, YouTube. Reach out to me on LinkedIn, Christopher S. Mahan. I'll be happy to reach out to you there as well. And let's make this happen. Let's make a great summer out of it. All right, you guys have a great night.